bit of hope as far as us being a competitive team, but at the same time, Christian Wood news, Jared Vanderbilt news, pretty much he's not ready to play at all after missing the end of the season. Like it's just a lot of bad news after bad news. So I don't know, man. Lakers fans, I always try to be optimistic, but I really don't know what I can say at this current moment to make everybody feel happy. I don't got anything yet. As the show goes on, the vibes will get there. But man, tough set of news. But overall, I'm doing good.
I like join after some technical difficulties to hear Earl of all people being pessimistic. That's not that's not good. I know that Earl will always roll back the good vibes at some point because if anyone knows how to do that, it's always Earl. But understandably so. Again, some of the news that we've been hearing isn't the most reassuring. We got a lot of injury scares. We got news of Christian Wood surgery happening less than a week ago. Funny enough, it was actually I think the same surgery that he had back in March that ended his season as well, which makes me extremely concerned because it kind of gives me the sign of did something go wrong in recovery? Is he going back to square one? Like a lot of uncertainties there. I'm going to be really interested to see what our depth chart kind of looks like as we're going into this season. I think we should definitely look at that in today's stream. But I mean, we're still here to at least try to bring some of the good vibes. I feel like we always are able to do that, even in some of the deepest, darkest times of our team. So, still happy to be here.
Yeah, the vibes in here. We're just avenging the Lakers' legacy. Honestly, online, it's hard, man. Like I said, it's a lot of stuff going on. Not a lot of it's positive, but either way, we'll figure it out. But I'm excited as always to have you guys here and just talk Lakers basketball per usual.
Yeah, of course, if you're joining us from Twitter as well, like I said, feel free to drop any questions. And of course, join our playback/Quest18. And yeah, let's move forward. Let's talk about at least the injuries. First off, let's talk about Christian Wood. Of course, he did suffer an injury. And as mentioned, at least per day. Oh, echo right there. But yes, he did get a surgery last week, and of course his timetable could be, I believe, around was it like 6 to 8 weeks, per the news that I've seen. And yeah, Christian Wood even talked about himself via Twitter, both his Instagram as well, that he is heartbroken by this sudden scenario. And I would assume it wasn't like at least a injury that was, like, say, lingering, as Christian Wood previously on his social media to say he was excited, he was hoping for a quote unquote revenge season, you could say. But I think imagine doing a training or say a workout, his body just didn't feel right that day, and it just occurred injury. Just bad luck, you could say. So, at least for both Earl and Alex, we thoughts on Christian Wood and what should the Lakers do next? Could he find a center?
I guess I'll go first. Those that were on PSF, when we were doing the stuff on PSF, kind of know I was like the Christian Wood truther. Not 100% because I've said my fair share on what he's done wrong or what he needs to improve on, but I kind of joke around as the Christian Wood truther here and there. But honestly, it really is a heartbreaking situation, excuse me, for him. Like I said earlier, it kind of gives me the feeling that something went wrong in the recovery, like really, really recently. Something is telling me that it wasn't just like it could have been poor planning, but another thing is just telling me, considering it was the exact same surgery that he got back in March, the exact same surgery that called him out for the rest of the season, that like kind of kept him away from the playoffs. And considering that we've been hearing about him training, we've been seeing him talk about his season and all that, it kind of indicates to me that something went wrong in the recovery. And it kind of is extremely heartbreaking that things had to end up like this. From what I've been seeing, it was a surgery done to the left knee less than a week ago. The next evaluation, I believe, is going to be in 8 weeks. So it's not even guaranteed that he'll be back in 8 weeks. It's just like a checkup in 8 weeks. So it's most likely going to be longer than that. I think it's extremely concerning. I think our center lineup has already been very, very dwindling. But Jackson Hayes is pretty much our direct second now. And I also have certain gripes with Jackson Hayes, but I still think that on his good days, he can be a really nice lob threat. He does help with rebounding for sure. I just think that if he ups his defensive game, his physicality game, hopefully we can get something nice out of that. I think I'm also curious as to if we're going to call anyone up for Christian Wood if we don't find a good trade or free agent in time. Because although the free agent is still there, free agent market is still there, and I definitely hope we're looking at that. The lack of action there in the past is making me wonder if we have anything in the Los Angeles already. Like, are we gonna look to Colin Castleton trying to up his contract too? Are we gonna look to some of the folks that we saw in the summer league? I think we saw Moses Brown at one point in the summer league as well. I'm not sure what the relations with the Lakers are right now, but I'm just really curious as to if anyone's going to be called up. Are we going to look at the free agent market? Do we have hope that Rob Pelinka in the front of office will actually make some moves? Are we frustrated that they didn't make any moves earlier? That's just going to be a lot of the things that we'll be talking about here. But overall, I'm not going to get too mad at Christian Wood. Maybe I am biased for that, but I just think something went wrong in the recovery, and it makes me feel really bad for him. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll start with, I agree with Alex. I feel bad for Christian Wood. Obviously, nobody wants to be injured, so I think we'll just put that out there first. He didn't set out this offseason to be injured. We've seen the post, like you mentioned. He was excited. Revenge season, comeback tour, ready to lock in. I mean, he picked up his player option, hoping to have a bigger role under a new JJ Redick-led coaching staff. And I was kind of excited for it. We talked about it, his ability to hit the three, play defense potentially in some situations. I think it would have thrived under this new JJ Redick coaching staff. So it definitely sucks that he's injured. Oh man, I know I said we can run it back and live, but dang, I don't know. We have no backup bigs. Jackson Hayes, I mean, I get it. Jackson Hayes is Jackson Hayes. He's a project. We know he's a project, and if that's our best big on the team behind Anthony Davis, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. I was looking at available free agents. All right, here's the center market. Bismarck Biyombo. Willie Cauley-Stein, Dwayne Dedman, Georgie Dang, Jermichael Green, Frank Kaminsky, someone's name I can't pronounce. I'm sorry. Miles Leonard, which Norris Noel, bro, it's rough out here in the free agency streets. We waited till the last minute to make moves and secure this team, and this is what happens when you don't do your job in the beginning of the summer. It makes it tough going into the season. Now you have to make a trade to fix this problem. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Rob Pelinka has to make a trade to address these roster problems. Before, maybe we could have got away with it slightly, but now there's no chance. There's zero chance we can go into the season with no backup big behind just Jackson Hayes. It's just so unrealistic. And then, like we said, Jared Vanderbilt. All right, wing defense. What's going to happen there? If he's out for more time to start the season, who's going to replace that defensive production? That was one of our biggest things we talked about. Hey, if we have Vanderbilt, our team is a lot better. Well, we might not have him at the start of the season either. So, Rob Pelinka, man, you are under serious pressure. There's a lot of stuff you have to get done before LeBron James and AD hit that basketball court. And right now, it's not looking so promising. But Christian Wood, I'm praying that you get better, man. Hopefully, the injury process isn't too hard on you. I know, just speaking in general, athletes, it is a mental adjustment for them to be able to play basketball and just not. I mean, we heard the stories about Anthony Davis when he got injured and what that did to him as well. So hopefully nobody's sending any bad stuff towards Christian Wood. He can't control himself getting injured. And hopefully when he's back and healthy, I'm excited to see what JJ Redick is able to use him with in our system. So no hate towards Christian Wood. I'm just disappointed that we're in this position because Rob Pelinka has been stagnant and hasn't made any type of move. So now we're pretty much 3 steps back, honestly, right now.
Yeah, I'll say shout to chat, shout to Lakers fan. If you don't know them, there's these a big time Lakers they're part of the big time Lakers community. I remember watching their streams. of course, they're creating their own work, and yeah, you don't follow them both on YouTube, playback, and etc. So yeah. But yeah, at least for Christian Wood, it's just a struggle. Like I said, I was hoping he would be the lead backup guy ahead of Jackson Hayes. We've seen that he's more proven than Jackson at this point, and it's sort of tough. It's tough to see a guy who, like I said, we believed in him to go down with injury, and now with him being injured, he's going to be lower on the depth chart. You could say when it comes to the Lakers center position, and that forces Jackson Hayes to step up, and of course Colin Castleton to step up even more. And for me, I rally towards Colin Castleton over Jackson Hayes at this point. And this is, like I said, this is a make or break point for Colin Castleton now. Like, he has to maximize his opportunity and just take advantage. Just because if he's not a key person within that center rotation, it's going to be rough for him moving forward. Like, he could be one of those follow-up points that if the Lakers don't see development, and they could just see him as a G League guy, or they may even cut him and sign a older, or you can maybe say free agent that they believe could be a viable fit in the rotation within that two-way contract, because there's only three, and we know that Colin Castleton is on his second one, and eventually, of course, you can't get a third one, I believe. So it's just Colin Castleton has to elevate and be a better player moving forward. And this is screaming and shouting out his opportunity to say for. It's just, can he maximize those opportunities? Can he take advantage? Can he be a center that we believe in? And as of right now, like I said, he is still developing, but he has some bright spots that can help him win that backup center position.
Yeah, I'm just extremely concerned because I feel like Jackson Hayes and Colin Castleton both have a couple of, well, they're both like different players, obviously, but I think they have some similarities in like the things that they're lacking in. Especially, I feel like they both kind of lack in physicality. I think Colin Castleton's defensive awareness, I personally think, is better than Jackson Hayes's, but I think Colin Castleton is still like very uncareful on defense, which is a problem that I think both centers have. I think that the point of having these backup centers is to kind of elevate AD's game as well as their own. And I think that AD is going to take on a lot of physical pressure, and a lot on two ways, actually. And I think that's why I'm extremely concerned about. One of the reasons why I rated Christian Wood even a little bit was because I think he brought a lot of help to Anthony Davis's game. I feel like Christian Wood, he did a little bit more to space out the floor offensively. He would experiment with shooting, or like if he wanted to stay closer, AD could roam around a bit more. Obviously, he was slower on the defense, and that caused problems, but I still think that Christian Wood kind of helped AD's game, even if it was just a little bit. And I have less confidence in both Jackson Hayes and Colin Castleton. I think the fact that they have not the exact same, but somewhat similar strengths and weaknesses is also kind of concerning to me. It feels limiting as well.
Yeah, at least going to look a quote from David McMahon's article. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend you check out, because he provides some of the latest Lakers news around this center position, / also news about these players' wants and desires. And one of those desires is Anthony Davis has made it clear to the Lakers that his preference is to play alongside a big more often. And of course, the Lakers are thin at center with Chris Wood going out. And of course, you have Jackson Hayes and Colin Castleton as your options. Of course, you also have Armand Troy, who did play at that center position as well. But him next to Anthony Davis doesn't work and doesn't fit, just because Charles Ory doesn't provide the ability. And of course, he's a rookie still, you could say. So it's just the Lakers made some bad decisions in free agency, and this is starting to bite them at this point.
I just think we're like continuing down the line of like, it's true that you brought up that this is like a huge demand of his for actually multiple seasons. We've been lacking in center depth for multiple years. The fans have said it, even AD himself has said it. I think also it doesn't help again with the physicality. I think that obviously AD has like definitely one of the greater physicalities in the NBA, but it's like you would want, he would probably want a big man to play with the physicality that can be on par to him, or if not on par, someone who can keep up physically with him as well. And I don't know if I believe in Jackson Hayes or Colin Castleton to do that quite yet. I know Armand Traore, like you said, was experimenting in that position. He's about 6'8", and I know like there's some great smaller like center/forwards like Bam at Miami and all that, but like Bam also has like kind of the physicality and like the stamina and like his own like actual like experience, matured skills to keep up with it. I'm not 100% sure if Armel Traore, who is kind of one of the newer folks, although he did well, one of the newer folks in the summer league roster, has that to kind of make up for his lack of height or his lack of anything in that center position. I think it's just the fact that not only are we like running low on options, like the few options that we have just don't feel compatible, and I don't have the confidence yet that any of our choices can really alleviate some of the needs that are like required and listed for this big man role.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we definitely have two different type of centers, and both of them kind of lack that physicality. Like that's why I was kind of excited when I heard like Jonas Valanciunas as a potential option. Like he's a huge guy. Like he'll put you in the post. Like, I've been scared to have him post up versus Anthony Davis because he's so physical, and having that paired up with AD, I think that just works better. We don't have that type of bruiser on this team. Like we used to have like a JaVale McGee. We used to have a Dwight Howard. Like we used to have bigs like that. Even though we didn't get to see it, I mean, we had DeMarcus Cousins on the roster as well. We don't have any type of like, I feel like all around like utility bigs like that anymore. So it is a little bit disappointing that Rob Pelinka wasn't able to get anybody. I would even say try to get like a Wendell Carter, if you can in the trade market. Or we already talked about Walker Kessler, like a great defender. Having Walker Kessler plus Anthony Davis as your two bigs defending, I mean that would do miracles for our defense. I feel like so. I don't know if we're leaning towards like experimenting. I guess I guess we could go younger and develop our youth and give bro a try, but I don't know. I still think making a trade probably is our best option as far as like longevity of the season. And we have LeBron James pretty much on his, I mean, I hate to say it, pretty much on his farewell tour. Like, I don't see him signing another contract after this, realistically. And this is our last chance to kind of optimize the AD and LeBron James era. And it's just off to a bad start. And the season hasn't even begun. So I'm a little bit frustrated about this whole situation. Not really blaming Wood, not really blaming Jackson Hayes. It's just the fact that the front office made a lot of questionable decisions to start the season. And really, just last year, like all the player options we handed out kind of sold us like from being able to make bigger moves. So yeah, Rob Pelinka, if he didn't feel any pressure, hopefully he feels it now because it's looking really bad. It's looking like press the panic button, honestly.
I'm curious if you have any like trade ideas yet, because I do think a trade might be better than the free agency. Because I'm like looking at it and like I don't know if my list is accurate or not, but it's like a tracker that I found, and it's like there's 12 folks on the list. The most like quote unquote prominent name is JaVale McGee, who is 37 years old almost. Um, and I know he was formerly on our championship team, but still he's like 37 now. And then going down, we have like Boban Marjanovic, Omer Yurtseven, Damian Jones, Chimezi Metu, Bismack Biyombo, and I'm just like, with all due respect to all of these players, I don't know who is gonna like alleviate our long needed problem of having like a useful backup center. Um, I really hope this isn't like the season where we're seeing Cam Reddish play the five again. I saw that last year under Ham, and like I'm just hoping that JJ Redick knows better than that. I hope that we have options so that we can do better than that. Um, I'm, but I'm just wondering like who do you think? Okay, if even if you don't have an idea for like a trade, who do you think would be more likely to be given up? I guess like which of our players do you think we would give up for like a certain trade, and who's in the hot seat, who's like safe?
That's a great question. For me, I feel like there's a name, Gabe Vincent. I think he's probably the guy that I would like to see in a package. I know there's some team out there who could use a Gabe Vincent. Obviously, he doesn't have a lot of film from last season because he was injured. But at times, he showed his ability to play defense. He got a couple key stops, so maybe that can be advertised towards some certain teams across the league. Another guy I'm kind of thinking about on our roster. I don't know. I don't think he really has trade value. I would say like the guys really I would be interested in moving is Gabe Vincent, Cam Reddish, and probably I'm trying to think. Hmm. Nah, I don't want to say I love Rui. I think he's great on the team. But as far as okay, let me rephrase this. Players that other teams probably would take, I would say on the top of that list is probably out of those guys is probably Rui, probably Reeves, which he's not leaving. D'Angelo Russell, we've already seen. People are just advertising him as a negative asset. But here's a potential trade. I know the Magic, once upon a time, they wanted D'Angelo Russell. They were the team that wanted to give him a big type of contract. Well, what if we can kind of finesse our way into a Wendell Carter Jr. and maybe one of those 200 point guards they have over there and bring one of those back in exchange for D'Angelo Russell, maybe a pick, a first or a second, first and second, something like that. Just put together a big package, get Wendell Carter, one of those point guards. I mean, they got Cole Anthony, they got Suggs, they got Markelle Fultz. Like they have a lot of guards over there, and I feel like the point guard room is getting a little bit overcrowded. So maybe we can snatch up a guard in the center, and we would honestly, in my eyes, we'll be back because we still got Jordan Goodwin as well for our backup point guard position or starting whatever. Depends on what happens with D'Lo, but I think the Magic definitely could be a team to watch out for, and even the Jazz too. Like I don't think the Jazz are trying to be a playoff team, if I'm being honest. And you got Colin Sexton, who had one of the best underrated seasons last year that nobody's talking about. He's a guard option I'd be comfortable with taking, and maybe one of their backup bigs. Like I'm not even talking about Walker Kessler. I don't know what bigs they have on that roster, but I mean anything's got to be better than what we got going on in our situation. So maybe one of those type of teams. Yeah, I think I could definitely see it because the Magic are like they're really 1 or 2 steps away from being like I feel like a play-in team, like competing for playoffs, like they did last year. They're a point guard away, and I think like all jokes aside, I'm not trying to sell big, but I think D'Angelo Russell definitely could solve a lot of their point guard problems. So it could be a win-win.
I think that's really interesting you brought that up because I think in terms of like teams to look to for trading, I think the Orlando Magic was going to be the most compatible. I do think that they're almost like exclusively guards and like centers. And like obviously they have wing people in there, but it's like of the people they're trying to get rid of, it's like exclusively guards and centers, which is like what the Lakers are kind of looking at right now. And I think also the fact that Orlando is more of a defensive minded team is extremely helpful because some of the people you're listing, you listed Gabe and you listed Cam, and like I think that's extremely valid. But like with the Vanderbilt injury, which we're gonna talk about really soon, they were like maybe 2 of 3 non-star names that like I semi-trusted to kind of hold down the defensive responsibilities. I feel like obviously because our defensive depth it's a little bit lacking, especially when we're looking at the non-stars of the team. I think Vanderbilt was really holding it down, being our best defender outside of AD, and I think losing that was huge. And like even between Vando versus Reddish and Vincent, there's a huge gap there, but like the gap between those people and then like those below that is also kind of big. So I'm glad that you brought up the Orlando Magic just because I think if we trade with a more defensive minded team like that, it would kind of help with both our Christian Wood issue and our we don't have Vanderbilt for a while issue. Um, I think Alan, if you also have suggestions, I'm like curious what you think, but that's just overall. I just think in terms of teams, I think Orlando Magic is the most compatible for multiple reasons that could benefit both teams.
Yeah, I think that definitely we can go back to these past discussions about the Orlando Magic, Wendell Carter. We talked about a lot of centers who could have been available, like a Clint Capella who could have been available. One name that has sort of risen up that the Lakers and David McMahon has talked about was about Jonas Valanciunas, who of course was a Lakers target in a free agency. However, he didn't resign with the Lakers, and one of those reasons is that he didn't get, or he can say he got more guaranteed money with the Washington compared to the Lakers. And however, although that was one scenario, at least per David McMahon, he doesn't expect the team, which maintains some roster flexibility by remaining under the restrictive second apron, to look the same in the postseason as it does opening night, one name to keep an eye on is Jonas Valanciunas. And of course, we know that Lakers and Washington Wizards have some relations. Of course, going back to the Kendrick Nunn, Rui Hachimura trade, going back to the Russell Westbrook trade. So you have to imagine Jonas Valanciunas maybe signed with Washington just to get a guaranteed deal, so that that guaranteed deal could later go into the Lakers, hopefully, due to them, of course, having a non-flexibility, you could say, when it comes to their roster. So that's sort of at least an interesting thought, but I think Valanciunas would, as of right now, be the lead option, in my opinion. Like I said, the free agency department and also the players available isn't a sight to see, you could say. So it's just like Valanciunas, Wendell Carter are at least the main guys that, of course, who we talked about in the offseason, is going to be the same guys heading to opening night, in my opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. 3D chess, man. I'm not trying to play chess, Valanciunas. I just need you on the roster to start the season, man. Because obviously we have to wait. What is it? How long is it that we have to wait before he can even get traded? Isn't it like a little bit through the season, right?
Yeah, like sort of like December, like November / December, but I think December is like the key point, I believe. Like before Christmas, you could say, like maybe like December 14th or something, like halfway.
Can we float and survive till December? I don't know. But if that becomes a reality, then I'm cool with it. I mean, I'm all for players getting their bag. Necessarily, if they couldn't get it from us, we can trade for it, maybe get a good package around it. But it is kind of crazy, like Rob. I know we talk about Rob a lot recently, but Rob really fumbled a lot of different situations. Like me and Alan talked about this last week. Like Braun, but it was like, hey, I'll take off 25 plus million on my contract right now, Rob. Like he basically said, I challenge you to do your job. I will put 20 plus $1 million on the line for you to do your job. If you go get me Klay Thompson, Valanciunas, I think DeMar DeRozan, whatever, and there was another name on the list, I forget. If you go give me one of these guys, I will go band for band with you and drop some of my money off my contract. And Rob Pelinka doesn't get it done. And it's crazy that we talked about, like, even the Klay Thompson thing was like really surprising to me. Like we had nothing in order. Klay Thompson basically said we were just like in short words, we were like a dumpster fire. That's not what he said. Don't quote me on that, but basically saying like we didn't have a coaching staff. Mavericks just went, Mavericks were just way more set up. Just went to the finals, have a coaching staff in place. Us, we were a little disorganized. We didn't even have any assistants. We had no staff at that point. All it was JJ Redick, LeBron James, AD, and a dream. Like, and looking at that compared to what the Mavericks built, it really didn't make sense. The only thing Klay Thompson had tied to us, was his legacy, his father's legacy. And at that point, I mean, Klay Thompson, he's a grown adult. Like, he can make his own decisions. He's already made a legacy for himself, winning 4 championships. So that kind of conversation is only going to go so far. And I think the Lakers kind of got stagnant with that situation. And once again, we talked about they tried to play the legacy card like it's just everything. Like Lakers legacy is going to get you in every single door, which this is not the case. Like I remember a couple weeks ago, we talked about how we would like to see like the Lakers expand their team, like outside of just, hey, we have a whole bunch of Lakers guys and people who've been around the organization for a long time. This is why you build other connections. Like you try to branch out so you can have a broad amount of people who want to come to the Lakers and stuff like that, and people who have connections across the league. Because obviously legacy alone is not getting the job done. So that's just a little mini rant about Rob Pelinka and what he's been getting done. Absolutely nothing. Jordan Goodwin, I think it was a good sign, but it wasn't a hard sign, if we're being completely honest. He's a guy who was looking for a team. Didn't really have a lot of options out there, unfortunately, even though I think he's a good player. And it was an easy call for Rob Pelinka to make that move. Like it was a no pressure situation. But when it comes down to making a big move, we need one. Like I'm not saying, hey, we got to break up the whole roster and get this done. No, but now realistically, we need a big, like we need a center. And Valanciunas having to wait till December, that's huge, especially with Christian Wood potentially being like, I think Alex mentioned or Alan, I forget. It's not 8 weeks and he's back, like 8 weeks, and then he gets reevaluated. That could be another 2 to 4 plus weeks after that he actually comes back and plays basketball. So for me, I think Rob Pelinka is definitely under pressure to get something done. Something has to be done, like to solve this problem immediately. Like we can do a Valanciunas trade, I'm cool with that, but we need something to fix what we have going on right now. Even if that's like I don't even know, man. Like wings as well. Like we're not even thinking about Vanderbilt. Like, is he gonna be okay? Like we talk about defense on that wing position. Well, if we don't have Vando for let's say around the same amount of time, like what's that gonna do for our team as well? I don't know. It's just a lot to think about. I know I'm not playing the nice role today, but I'll switch it up towards the end of the show. I'm just bringing to light all the problems that Rob Pelinka has presented this team with. But yeah, I think we just have a lot of work to do and not a lot of time. I am happy. Like I don't know if you guys seen like that JJ Redick interview about how LeBron James and AD will be ready for camp and stuff like that. That gives me optimistic. That keeps me optimistic about the season. If those guys are excited, I think all Lakers fans will kind of just buy into our championship over everything mentality once the ball gets rolling. But I can't ignore the problems that JJ Redick has presented us with. I'm not JJ Redick. Sorry, JJ. My bad. Rob Pelinka has presented us with.
Do we have a timeline for when how long Vandal's going to be out for? Because I know we have a timeline for Wood, but all I know is that Vandal has been gone. I believe it's a foot injury, and we were hearing stuff about how he would be ready to come back, and then we were hearing like maybe earlier this month, like a week ago, oh maybe he's not ready for even training camp. I think putting even more pressure on the wing position. I know that Rui and Vando are two different players, but do we know if Rui is back from injury? He got injured during the Olympics campaign, and I want to find more updates on that because I know they're two different players, but they're kind of like the ones that are more likely to go into the starting lineup and help LeBron kind of take over the number 4 role whenever he needs to move to a different position. So, obviously I'm going to look for that, but that's another question I wanted to bring up is just where are we with our depth in general, because I'm genuinely confused as to like who's ready and who's not right now.
Yeah, so, most of it's on David Mann's and Lay's article, and I guess from that news that you mentioned and talked about, he said while Wood underwent surgery last week, Vanderbilt foot is still not 100%. Going back to, of course, the Lakers broadcast, Mike Brenahan from the Spectrum Sportsnet, who, of course, they cover the Lakers. They have their own podcast, and he talked about how he's not going to be ready, most likely for the preseason. And at least per Dave / ESPN, Gabe Vincent, Cam Reddish, and Jalen Hood-Schifino will be ready to compete for minutes from the start, giving Redick more options. So, like I said, that is some clarity into that question, and also how the Lakers are going upon it right now. But we all know, and of course, it's not any disrespect to David Mann and, of course, and any other Lakers reporter, but we've seen that the Lakers, through at least try to be in good graces with the Laker fans and be in good graces with the media by throwing out reports that seem to be true, but ultimately do not pan out. So it's just like I'm not calling the Lakers liars or anything, but we've seen that they try to bend the truth, you could say, when it comes to injury reports and anything revolving the health of their players. And of course, you can say it's a bad thing and something that does happen. We all seen with the 49ers this past week how they kind of kept quiet with Christian McCaffrey. And of course, if you're a better, or you can say a fantasy football player, and you saw that news, and you can seemingly be frustrated about that, and I very much agree with that. And me personally, I think that the 49ers should be fined for sort of keeping like say Christian McCaffrey's injury in wraps, and I think the Lakers sometimes do kind of do that in the media, and that although our current players are healthy or probably good enough to be on the court from their standards, realistically the players themselves, they're not healthy enough to be on the court and are prepared to compete for an 82 game season. So it's a bunch of lying and a bunch of trying to be in, or you say, try to limit the damage control when it comes to how Genie Bus and this Lakers PR and etc. How to handle this. And I don't know if you guys saw. I think what's his name? His name, the guy report who posted, but there's a report about the Lakers on LinkedIn. There's a job application out there for the Lakers head athletic trainer, and from I saw it was like the pay was like 250 to like I don't know, like 500K, and I'm like, I feel like that pay should be a little bit higher with how these Laker players are still injured. Like if you're applying for that job, I'm asking Lakers straight up, like, hey, I want my salary increased just because these players are still injured. And if I'm going to be the athletic trainer and gain them to the best of their ability, you got to pay me, man. You got to pay me.
I just found the LinkedIn. And it says head athletic trainer. We got 52 applicants so far. Maybe one of us can. Okay, no, I don't think I can do that. Yeah, it's 250 to 280K a year. And this is like there's like a director role, so there's like a pretty higher up role. You're pretty much directing like the entire like athletic training team. I don't know. I'm obviously not applying for that, but the LinkedIn shout out is even crazy. The LinkedIn shout out was crazy. But I'm just extremely concerned about like just how much pressure there is on the Lakers, even just from like a health side of things. And I know I genuinely do think that like maybe Christian Wood was making progress and like found some bumps along the way that ruled him out of the season. But I also can't help but think about, especially with Allen's new points. I remember one time when like Christian Wood was said to be available off the roster, I think somewhere back in March and April, or sometime during the playoff even, and like he just never showed up. And like I think at some point it happened to Vando last season too, where it's just like they said he was ready for a season. It took him like 5+ games to show up. And like it really makes me wonder like just how much are they like bending the truth in terms of like reporting their injuries. Like I think as a fan I would rather just hear it straight up as to what's going on. Alan just put the link in the chat. But no, as I was saying, I do agree. It is like really concerning. Just the everything is just so concerning. But specifically in what we're talking about, like just how uncertain we are, like one, from the lack of reassurance we get from the team, and two, even when we do get reassurance from the team, like the lack of like trust there is in those words. So I mean, poor JJ Redick has a lot to think about during his debut coaching season. There's just a lot that still has to be done, and it's so frustrating saying that all summer. There's so much that has to be done. There's so much that has to be done, and like we're here in September, and we're still saying the same thing pretty much.
Yeah, we're cooked. If this is what we're doing, we're going to LinkedIn, posting job boards. Like we don't have any insider information to get like officially qualified people who've been in the basketball world to take care of this job post. Like, what do we got going on, man? And shout out to Allen too for that 49ers thing. That was absolutely insane. As a Christian McCaffrey fantasy manager, I didn't find out until like right before the game starts, and I couldn't change him out my lineup, so he got locked, and I lost my week. So thank you guys for that. That was absolutely amazing. But yeah, the Lakers have a bad habit of having these fake injury reports. Like they were so vague. I know. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to say his name. Remember the Darvin Ham comments about injuries? Like, yeah, Christian Wood. We'll see him in like we'll give an update next week, and they'd be like, yeah, update for this week. Christian Wood, he's progressing well. There'll be a new update next week. Like that was so frustrating. The vagueness about that whole injury was absolutely insane. The injury that we thought was gonna be like 4 weeks turned out to be pretty much 2+ months, and the whole playoffs missed. Even when we said, "Oh, he's ready to come back," like you guys said, "Oh yeah, they're ready to come back." Never played. Never even brought them back to play in key games that they could have made a difference. Then what's the point of saying they're available tonight? Like, what was the point of even saying that? Like, were they really healed? Like, at this point, it's looking like no, their injuries probably never really healed. And that tells me that they were more severe than what they were advertising when it first happened. If Christian would have to go again and have a surgery right now going into the season, that means the injury that he was out from really never 100% got resolved. Same with Jared Vanderbilt. There's no way that he's still injured. He still hasn't been able to ramp up to like 100% where he can get on the court. Like there's something wrong with our report, and I definitely agree. There has to be some accountability in that staff, and maybe that comes with hiring a new set of managers and stuff for our sports trainers, athletic trainers. But hey, man, 49 applicants like that post says. I hope there's one person out there who specializes in this and who decided at birth they wanted to do this. They wanted to help create the best athletes and help keep them healthy because we need it. And definitely boost that pay. Like you're gonna get talked about a lot. Oh, athletic trainers suck, all this, blah, blah, blah. Like the pressure for that spot on our team is to the roof. Like out of all these years, think about it. Last year was the most healthy year we got from AD and LeBron James, really since 2020. All years before that, injuries like LeBron James out, AD out. That remember the Phoenix Sun series? I forget, was that 2-3 years ago, whatever, first round out because Anthony Davis gets hurt. Bron tries to will himself to take us to the next round. Doesn't happen. So it's a lot of pressure with this type of position. And I don't know. I don't know who wants that job. And apparently nobody wants it. There's only 49 people out of everybody looking on LinkedIn. And we need some more details on these things. Like I need to see views per post compared to how many applicants. Because I know there's a bunch of people who looked at that post, probably 1 million plus people, and only 49 people like, you know what, I'll try to apply to this job. So I don't know, man. It's definitely crazy to see it on LinkedIn. And right before the season starts is not a good sign.
I guess we can say that the Lakers have a concept of a plan, at least. Because like clearly we don't have an actual one. I think I genuinely wonder if they're like trying to fill the role internally and then they only have the athletic trainer posting out there just in case. But like, God, it's just really interesting how incomplete we feel as a team, even just going into the season. We have about a month until the season starts. Preseason's before that. We have a couple of games in the Palm Springs to think about as well. And I think what Earl said about like being an athletic director for a training director for the Lakers is a high pressure job. I feel like I'm gonna answer Earl's poll later, but you can say that about pretty much any role, any like major role for the Lakers. We said this about the head coaching role too. Like going into the head coaching role as the Lakers is very like high pressure. It's also like really unreassuring. It's after looking at the whole list of head coaches after Phil Jackson. You can say that about a lot of the directorial roles, about the bigger roles. It is extremely high pressure. Even like Rob Pelinka's role is really high pressure. I think he warrants a lot of the criticism he gets. So I'm not saying he doesn't. It is just true that the fact that it is very high pressure to go into any of these positions. And I think the fact that there's very little being done for the team right now to kind of serve the team currently right now certainly does not help. It doesn't hurt just the players. I feel like it hurts the entire collective. And for Earl's post of "Are we cooked?" I got to think about that. I want to say no. I want to say no. I don't know what I will say, but I do want to say no.
I just vote yes. We're okay. Like I said, per Anthony Irwin, with the help, of course, Raj, which I don't say his last name because I don't butcher it, but he said it would appear that Roger Sancho, the previous head athletic trainer of the Lakers, has joined the Phoenix Suns. Thus, the Lakers posted an opening position on LinkedIn. They have over 2 weeks to fill it before the Lakers preseason game on October 4th. So, yeah, among those 49 applicants, a shout out to them who applied. I hope they, or at least whoever gets the job, does their best. And yeah, they're going to get a ton of scrutiny. Because say when the Lakers do have some injury problems. But like I said, hope they do the best. They get paid based on their performance, and yeah, just shout out to them overall. At least moving forward for both Earl and Alex, I may have more topics before we go into some other stuff or going around some games and some other news.
I'm good.
I think I'm good too.
So yeah, at least for this week, we kind of got at least the Lakers and going on for today, and just the overall landscape around this organization is kind of tricky. And one thing I do want to at least talk about is what are some bright spots you can say for this season, like what are at least 3 bright spots you can think of right now, possibly influence this Lakers team to be their best.
I like this. Time to switch my positivity cap on. We're locked in. All right. Bright spot number 1. We got to steal in the draft. Dalton Connect. Honestly, very biasly, I think he'll be the rookie of the year. He has a really good chance. Now with all these injuries stacking up, not sure what Rui Hachimura's situation is. Not sure what Jared Vanderbilt's situation is. But that leaves more room for him to get increased minutes off the bench. Or who knows what can happen in the future. Maybe he starts a game or two. I don't know. But I think he's going to have a great season. He can pretty much do everything. I think the one thing he'll have to work on, obviously, is defense. But best way to get better at defense is just to get real NBA reps. You can't really simulate that in practice, I feel like. Austin Reeves is a guy, we consider him a decent defender under Frank Vogel because he was forced to be put in those type of tough situations. That's the best way you learn. So I'm excited to see what Dalton Connect does this season. That's bright spot number 1 for me. Number 2 is Bronny James / LeBron Fathers Chronicles, the James family storyline. We've never seen it before. Not sure if we'll see it again at this high of a level. I don't think people understand. Like, it's not like, oh, a father son's playing together. We're talking about somebody's father who's still arguably like top 10 active NBA players right now playing the game of basketball. He was averaging 28 plus points a game, 6.5 assists, 6.5, whatever, rebounds, something around that range at 39 years old. He's still top of the league. Still probably still top 3 small forwards in the league right now. Hands down, no question about it. And he's about to play with his son at still the highest level of basketball LeBron James can play. Like, there's no downfall to his game that we've seen so far. Besides injury. Obviously, he's been a pretty injury-free guy until he's got into older age, I will say. But yeah, I think that's bright spot number 2. We'll see some really cool moments throughout the year where we get to see him. Hopefully, we can see that LeBron James lob. I mean, maybe they do like one of those. Now, how crazy? Now, look, this is for all the LeBron fanboys out there. Shout out to them. We're about to cook real quick. Just imagine, fast break, down by 2 points. Fast break. Someone's going for a layup. You got LeBron on one side, Bronny on the other side, and they block it off the glass together. Like, how crazy would that be? Obviously, that's probably not ever happening. But just think about the storyline, the headline. That picture will probably go down in the NBA history book. Just both of them have a hand on the ball, just smiling at each other. History's made. So I'm all for those fantasy situations with LeBron and Bronny. I'm down for all those storylines. So that's 2 for me. Number 3 is Anthony Davis. AD, I believe, is going to have his best season of his career. I gave this hot take a couple weeks ago. I think he's going to have career highs in points, rebounds, assists, and blocks. I think he's going to put up big enough numbers to be considered an MVP conversation because he's historically been disrespected in the league. They don't consider him for any defensive player awards at all. They almost snubbed him for All-Star voting twice, 2 seasons in a row. Very disrespectful. And he, in my opinion, is a top 3 big in the whole entire NBA. And he's going to show people why next year. So those are my 3 bright spots. Dalton Connect, Bronny and LeBron James lore, and my guy Anthony Davis having an MVP season.
That's a really good list. And also, like, We always love a little bit of positivity here. I think the first one that and I think the first one's gonna be one that wasn't brought up yet. I think having a new coaching slate, like a clean slate in the coaching, can be seen as a positive. Obviously, there's a lot of uncertainties as to how they'll actually perform on the court. We're gonna have better answers after the training camp, after the start of the season. But just hearing how JJ Redick, just getting into the mind of JJ Redick a little bit, just how he speaks in the press conferences, just some of the things he does, the way that he plans out certain things. Even for Dalton Connect, a rookie, how he's like spotted out certain problems right away, like day one of his job. He already talked about offensive rebounding, like day one of the job, and just like getting into the mind of JJ Redick. I can say that like that, as well as having a really experienced assistant coaching staff, is like extremely a bright spot for the Lakers. I think that we're in a really low position for coaching, unfortunately. And even though not everything was Darvin Ham's fault, Darvin Ham really did disappoint with the team, unfortunately. So having that new slate and being excited for that is going to be one of the bright spots for me. I think number two, similar to what Earl has been saying, AD and LeBron are still playing some of the best basketball in the entire league. I think LeBron is still playing at a really high level. I think he's just maintaining really well his skills and his assets, and we have a 2-year contract with him to play out. So we have, unless something happens terrible this season, we might have 2 years of LeBron and AD, and LeBron playing really high level basketball. And AD, I think that LeBron is maintaining very well. Obviously, he's 39. AD is a couple years younger. I think he's still continuing to like show why he's better and better and better and better and better. I know that even with certain narratives, for him, I think that the injury-prone narratives that he has, which I understand the background of it 100%, and I think that people are gonna always say it no matter what, and I get. He made it over 70 games last season. He did really well with the Olympics campaign. Now that they had a little bit of time to rest before they go off to training camp, I think that hopefully even in his fitness that he's improving on top of a bunch of other things with the game. So seeing LeBron maintain such a high level and Anthony Davis continue to improve on already a high level of basketball is always really exciting to see. And it just requires some folks to step up. And that kind of transitions into my number three. We are going to see a couple of people step up, whether it is Dalton Connect and Bronny James. Most likely Dalton Connect is going to see time for the senior team. Whether it's the sky high potential of our rookies, whether it is some of the undermined names being brought to light, especially in Max Christie, especially the fact that he's going to have a lot more defensive responsibilities, I think, and he has more time to develop his offensive bag. I think that I know that we said Austin Reeves was going to make a huge jump from 2 seasons ago to last season. I don't think his jump was that as huge as it should have been, but I still have some hope that he's improving his game more and more. And I still think that shout out to Nabil in the chat, said something about Rui being the biggest name that needs to step up. I'm excited to see if Rui does step up too. Like if he is okay, because like I've been looking at reports that apparently he's good enough to at least show up to training camp, which is good. If he is okay enough to do that, there's gonna be huge eyes on Austin Reeves and Rui as well. And if they do step up, that's gonna be a huge bright spot for me. On top of Max Christie getting more responsibilities, on top of the potential of our rookies as well. So I think those are my 3 bright spots for the season. New coaching slate, really high level of LeBron and AD, and just like seeing who steps up.
For my bright spots, of course, you got the development of Bronny James. He's per David McMahon again. He talked about how Bronny James is majority going to spend his time in the G League, and of course, we did hire a new G League coach who. I read some interviews, read some quotes, and talked about how he's a offensively fundamental head coach, and I think that's the perfect guy to surround Bronny upon. And of course, they had some veterans, they had some key players. Shout out to Alex Fudge, of course, Vincent Valero, of course, going back to the G League, who they had some bright spots in the summer league, and then of course, some of the other young guys who probably will go back and forth, like a Max Lewis. Of course, Colin Castleton, who's on 2-way, Armand Traore, Blake Hinson as well. Super excited about him heading to the Lakers preseason, and just like I said, we're heading towards a younger generation of this Lakers um, roster, which I'm excited about. But at the same time, uh, we still got to compete. So hopefully everything ends well with that. My other one is, of course, as Earl mentioned, Dalton Connect. Very excited for what his future is up. Like I said, we have nearly a month away, October, till we get to see Dalton Connect be on a NBA court, you could say. So excited to see where he's gonna develop next, and hopefully, like I said, he can be a seventh or maybe sixth man rotation upon this roster heading to next season. So definitely excited about him. And then I'll say my third one would be Austin Reeves. I'm excited about Austin Reeves, and I'm excited to see what he does. I think Austin Reeves is arguably, I will say like he's a, I was about to say top 15 shooting guard, but there's probably other people better than him. But I'll be nice and say like top 20, at least top 20. Like he could be around that 15 range, but like top 20, I would say for Austin Reeves. I think he's definitely a player who can develop and be a fantastic wing scorer, a decent defender, and someone that I could see averaging around maybe 20 points per game this year. I think this is the perfect offense and perfect time for JJ Redick to unlock a Austin Reeves, who of course he knows to he's bending in his position, you could say. So Austin Reeves maybe a 20-point season. We could see him and maybe be even involved in those most improved player discussions. You could say so. Very much depending on how Austin Reeves does develop this season. So those are my three bright spots for this season. We spoke for Earl and Alex. Do you have any more topics before we go into a quick game that I found on Sporkle?
I'm excited to see that game at some point, but I think one thing I want to kind of ask about is like, what is our general depth chart right now? With Vandal gone, with Christian Wood gone, I was seeing people argue like, should Rui be pushed back to the bench to be the backup four, or should Rui stay in the starting lineup and then have a bunch of switches like mid game? I still see Rui being in the starting lineup, but like the lack of the hit to our depth in terms of center positions and losing Jared Vanderbilt obviously for defensive abilities and also offensive board abilities as well. I'm just kind of curious as to like how does our current depth chart look? Who do you think will be our starting lineup? Do you think it'll still be the same? And who do you think is going to have really, really huge significance off the bench as well?
Speaking of depth, in relation to that, this will be our game for this week. Let me find it.
Did I accidentally segue into the game? Okay, I'm good with that too.
Yeah, it's also a segue, but yes, there you go. So this quiz right here, this quiz is called the Lakers roster 2024-2025. So of course we'll go into that, but Earl, what are your opinions about the depth chart before we go into naming the depth chart?
Yeah, easy. I'll say as far as depth chart, I think I'll just say guys who have to step up off the bench. Jordan Goodwin, Max Christie, and Dalton Connect. I think those three guys are gonna have a huge role this season, especially with all the injuries we have. And they have to step up. Dalton Connect as a rookie is gonna be asked to do more things than other rookies and have more pressure along with it, just being a Laker and the situation he's brought into. I feel like Jordan Goodwin, he's a guy who kind of knows what it means to be on a team and play for a spot. And I think that allows him to be a competitor every single night in and night out. Like we talked about how he pretty much cooked us when he played against us. So having him on our team, like building that chemistry in that second unit, I think is going to be huge. And then Max Christie, he has a lot to prove. He got disrespected a lot in that Darvin Ham system. And I know he wants to showcase what he's been working on developing as far as his talent showcase. And I expect to see that this upcoming season. So I think those three guys definitely are going to lead our bench unit. I don't know what the combination is going to be to start off, but I definitely think if Rui's still on the roster, he will probably still be starting, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think our depth is good. I think we don't have like the eye-catching names. I think that most depth charts in today's NBA have, but I think that the Lakers have a well enough roster that they can compete very much. Like I said, we've seen the same roster from last year with injuries piled upon them. They got almost 50 plus wins, so I think probably this year they can compete and be well enough to probably get near the fifth seed, you could say, and be out of that playing position. But it's all around keeping players healthy and also head coaching and JJ Redick and also the players really taking that initiative of, hey, we cannot start slow to start the season. We gotta start. I'm gonna say they gotta start 5-0, but they at least have to start maybe 3-2 to say at least 3-2, hopefully 4-1, and just build each game as a learning experience and also build momentum towards a not stressful season, you could say. Like, of course, the Lakers in back-to-back years, they struggled and then they had to fight back near the end of the season. And of course, the players, they lose energy and their stamina. And of course, LeBron James, AD have to do everything in their power to keep this Lakers team competitive versus the Denver Nuggets, versus a Minnesota team, versus a Pelicans team, etc. Who, of course, the Lakers will be likely competing against in the future. So, yeah. Moving forward to our game, like I said, we're going to name the Lakers a depth chart to end the podcast. And yeah, let's start off. We got 5 minutes on the clock. We'll start with the easy ones. LeBron James. LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Of course, don't forget I mentioned about D'Angelo Russell.
Oh, my fault. I was muted. Jackson Hayes. Christian Wood.
Of course, no cheating, people. No cheating.
Oh, yeah, we're locked in.
Top of your head.
With Dalton Connect? This is new one, right?
Yeah, it's a new one.
Austin Reeves. It has their colleges right there.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
Yeah. Zoom in.
Okay.
USC is probably Bronny then, huh?
Yeah. Bronny James. Dalton Connect. Dang. Colin Castleton for Florida, right?
Yeah.
Oh, our boy, Jalen Hood-Schifino. Almost forgot about him. Let's see what else.
I see Gonzaga. That's Rui. I'm pretty sure that's Rui.
Oh, you're right. Yep. Max Christie somewhere up there. Michigan State. Yep.
I'm like admittedly not the best at colleges, but I definitely know our positions, so we're good.
Oh, Pepperdine. That's our boy. Maxwell Lewis.
Let's see.
Who else do we have? Oregon State. Who went to Oregon? Is that Goodwin? Is that updated like with him on this, or that's too fresh?
That's center.
That's that center. My bad.
Hold on. Wait, Pittsburgh. Oh wait, let's see Jordan Goodwin first.
Jordan Goodwin's not updated yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Blake Hinson went to Pittsburgh. I think.
You're right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Cool.
Okay. Dave for Duke, France, Kentucky, UC Santa Barbara, and Oregon State.
Wait, Duke,
our boy Cam Reddish.
Oh yeah, I'm tripping. Yeah, bro, what? I should know that as a Dookie.
I typed in Can before Cam because he's a can on defense, honestly.
Duke.
Let's see. Where did Vando go?
Oh yeah,
probably Kentucky, huh? Yeah.
Who's the center? It has to be an undersized center, right? Who are we missing? Are they counting? I know they're not counting Moses Brown. Like, he was barely on the roster. No, there's no way, right? No.
Right. Armo Traore.
Oh, true. Maybe. I don't. Did he go to Oregon? I don't know. I have no idea.
We can still try that.
France. That's France. Yeah. That has to be the France spot.
Oh, yeah, Troy,
Okay, cool.
Xavier.
Who? We have 4 centers. I did not know.
We
I did not know that.
Who's the point guard?
Xavier.
Xavier and then UC St.
I
Barbara.
remember his name, but I forgot he just got signed to an Exhibition 10 deal from Xavier, but I forgot his name. I have no clue who the UC Santa Barbara guard is.
What? Who's the last center? Oregon.
Wait, do we put Gabe yet? Did we put Gabe yet?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, he's from UC Santa Barbara.
Vincent.
We
That's a good call.
We all forget. We forgot about Gabe already. Makes sense.
Dang, that's dope.
Who's
We
the
have
last-
4 centers. We have 4 centers. Are you sure?
Is Skylar May still on our roster or is he gone?
I don't think so. I think he got waived. Alex Fudge got waived, unfortunately.
Fudge still low key.
It's a center and a point guard.
Xavier.
It's one of those. It's one of those. Oh my gosh! It's one of those Exhibit 10s. It's one of those Exhibit 10s.
I forgot his name.
It's already Damari. Like I don't know. Remember? I'm so sorry. And I have no idea what senior is. I've never seen this many. We don't have bigs unless it's like a 6'8", 6'9". I will remember a center.
Okay.
Unless I'm just
Xavier, I know him, but because he had a great end of the season, but I forgot his name. 8 seconds. No.
Yeah.
It's like we're not real fans, guys.
It's one of those Exhibit 10s that joined like last week. I'm so certain of it.
Oliver. Who? Oh, Kyler Kelly.
Who?
Heard of him.
I'm so sorry.
I think
I would.
I think Kyler Kelly is the guy we signed from the Boston Celtics. Like he played with them last season. I think
Man,
been playing in the G League last year.
no way he's on the roster though. I don't know.
I mean, he's 7 foot tall. Apparently, like he's not. It's not like he's undersized.
Where's he been?
I don't know. I saw 4 C's and I got really shocked because I was talking so much smack about like how we have no center depth, and I see 4 centers. I'm just like,
bro,
huh?
Where are these centers at though? Like what?
But yeah, this is our current roster. According to
This is our current roster. I'm still confused. I did not know we had some Kyler. I don't know who. I'm like trying to get to know this player now, because genuinely, like, I probably sound so stupid, but like, I genuinely did not know he joined us.
Yeah, it says he's on the Lakers. Kyler Kelly.
Do we know what type of contract they're on?
I believe in Exhibit 10 deal, most likely.
Yeah, he has no history like in the league.
He's 27 though.
Yeah, he has no. Is he 27?
I'm on his ESPN profile right now.
Oh, maybe
born in 97.
Dang. Yeah.
But he's experienced as a rookie. I'm so curious what his history is then. I'm so curious. Like, was he with like? I'm really curious. I hope he does well. I genuinely hope he does well. 27-year-old in the rookie stages. I really hope he does well.
Yeah. Hopefully he does well. Yeah. I had no idea. No disrespect. If you're watching this back, I just was not familiar with your game.
Let me see. I need to do my own research on this. Also, who's Quincy Oliver? I heard that name, but like I couldn't think of it off the top of my head. I think he was one of our newer signings as well, huh?
Yeah. He had a fantastic, 3-game stretch to end the summer league. I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's all for today's podcast. Thank you all for joining. And yeah, have a great rest of your day. Go Lakers. Peace, everybody.